Hi, everyone. Okay, so welcome to week two. We're just gonna dive into talking about the different theories. And they're so rich and in depth, so forgive me if I just talk too long about them. Hopefully you can forgive me. All right, so let's talk about Nola Pender's health promotion. Um,
Week 1 presentation Health Promotion
oops.
Model by
Okay, sorry about that. That has my old recording on it. Let me just bump down here. Okay. So the historical evolution of health promotion theory, which was published in 1982 and was modified in the 80s, late 80s, and then modified again in 1996. So it takes into consideration meta paradigms, so small environments, or small phenomena, so person, environment, health, and nursing, right? And the person refers to individuals, families, and communities. The individual factors include biologic factors, sociocultural factors, and psychological factors. Biological factors are age, BMI, puberty status, menopause status, aerobic capacity, strength, agility, and balance. Socioculture factors include race, ethnicity, acculturation, education, socioeconomic status. And psychological factors include self-esteem, self-motivation, perceived health status. So self-efficacy, this is the judgment of personal capability to organize and carry out a particular course of action. It's not concerned with skill that they have, but with judgments of what one can do with whatever skills they possess. So believing based on, I have the skill set if you're able to carry out a task. So success breeds success. According to Pender, the most powerful input to self-efficacy is the successful performance of a behavior. So for someone to, in order to believe in themselves that they can complete something, is that they have successfully performed a behavior before. Okay, so what does that mean for us as nurses? Well, we need to understand that somebody having strong self-efficacy, somebody um, to be successful in their care is they have to feel successful in their behaviors. So if someone comes in and says, I always fail at exercising, it's going to be really hard for them to go out and start exercising, for you to give them an exercise plan and them to actually complete it. So you have to keep that in mind when you're setting goals and tasks for patients. So environment is where a person spends most of their time. So your work is your environment. School, home, nursing centers, occupational health centers, community. If somebody spends most of their time in jail, you have to consider that environment. If somebody spends most of their time in the bus station or commuting or alone in their house, you have to consider those things. So environmental wellness is manifest in harmony and balance between human beings and their surroundings. I don't know where my camera just went. Where'd you go? He'll come back, right? Whatever. Okay. Um, so what this means, so environmental wellness is manifest in harmony and balance between human beings and their surroundings. So understanding that a person is comfortable in their surroundings. So, you know, people who have a lot of mold in their environment aren't going to do well with their asthma, okay? And that's a really obvious thing to understand. Okay, so nursing. So we have health promotion service, health promoting interventions, empowerment for self-care, and clients' capacity for self-care. So nurses make age-specific and risk-specific recommendations for clinical preventative services, right? So age-specific colon rectal screening based on age, starting at age 50. Risk-specific recommendations, colon rectal screening for those who have a history of colon polyposis or non-colon polyposis, or hypertension screening more often because a person has a family history. So clinical interest in health behaviors represents a philosophical shift that emphasizes the quality of lives alongside the saving of lives. So remember, it's one thing to save someone's life, but also to for an acute issue, but to prevent it so the acute issue doesn't happen and lower their quality of life is really kind of a newer thought from, just in the last 30 years. Nurses promote wellness by health promotion education. Okay, this is just a funny joke. So it says, what time would you like to get out of bed today? Oh, I wouldn't like to. How many feet do you think you could walk in the hall today? 0. I saw you marching your patient down the hall. What happened to using the mutual goal setting? I decided that paternalism is more my style. Ha ha ha, right? And then it's like theory, real world. Because honestly, it's like you want to do mutual goal setting, but if you're like, okay, how many pounds do you think you can lose? And they're like 0. Well, there you go. You just lost. And then health. So this model promotes the pursuit of health throughout the lifespan. So there's health responsibility, physical activity, nutrition, interpersonal relations, spiritual growth, and stress management. So concepts that are unique to this model, unlike avoidance-oriented model that rely upon fear or threat to health as motivation for health behavior, the health promotion model has a competence or approach-oriented focus. So meaning you are approaching the patient to meet them where they are versus trying to motivate them through threats. Health promotion is motivated by the desire to enhance well-being and to actualize human potential. It's a borrowed theory. So how can this be used in clinical practice? Well, it applies across the lifespan. It's used in a variety of settings. It's holistic. It has unique plans, and it uses hands-on education. So the framework for patient assessment: mind, soul, body, heart, improved health, enhanced functional ability. So think about that, right? You might not be able to make somebody 100% better, but what about their functional ability? Trying to improve it or enhance it to be the best that it can. Better quality of life at every stage, increase well-being, and possess a positive dynamic state. All right, so BMI. So this is the body mass index. It's calculated from a person's height and weight. It provides a reliable indicator of body fatness for most people and is used to screen for weight categories that may lead to health problems. Okay, and again, BMI is a good tool, and it's there's a bell curve to it, obviously, depending on ethnicity and race and all that stuff. But it is a very reliable indicator for body fatness, okay? So a dietary journal will help keep track of everything you consume to give you an idea of what you're eating, what you may not realize you're consuming. So food diaries are essential. I use them all the time in primary care. Now, do people bring them in? Not always. But when they do, they're so shocked by what they're actually eating because you forget. And actually, studies show that you will lose weight or maintain weight if you keep track of your food. An exercise screen will help identify different types of exercise and physical activity regimens that can be tailored to meet existing health conditions, illness, or disability. So here's the thing. Some people come in and they're like, I just joined a gym and the trainer there, I'm lifting weights and I'm running and and they weigh 400 pounds. You're not going to make someone who weighs 400 pounds start running on a treadmill. I mean, you're just asking for them to have all these injuries. That's going to make things worse for them. So that whole thing where it says, like, talk to your doctor or healthcare provider prior to exercising, that's where we come in as nurses to say, okay, well, can you climb up the stairs without getting short of breath? If someone's like, I can't even climb up the stairs without getting dizzy, we're obviously not going to do an intensive cardiovascular workout for them, right? If somebody has really severe osteoarthritis, you're not going to do a high impact workout. What about those who have risk for osteoporosis? You want to do weight-bearing exercises, and that was on the NCLEX. Lifestyle questionnaires are used in showing past and present lifestyle habits. So if someone's like, yeah, I watch 6 hours of TV a day. Okay. Well, and that's important. So one thing to do is for them to measure it based on how many shows they watch in a day. Because a lot of people will be like, if there's no way I watch 3 hours of TV a day. Well, I can tell you that even in your very busy schedule, most people manage to watch 2 to 3 hours of TV a day. Nursing education. So increasingly, the health promotion model is incorporated in nursing curricula as an aspect of health assessment, community health nursing, and wellness focused. Oh, all right. So the strengths, positive emotions or effect is the drive that increases the probability of commitment, right? So you have positive reinforcement, somebody achieves a goal, the more likely they are to continue with their goals. The greater the commitment to a plan of action, the more likely health promoting behaviors are maintained over time. And persons are more likely to commit, engage in health promoting behaviors when others model the behavior, right? So if you come in and you smell like smoke and you're trying to have someone quit smoking, you're less likely to engage your patient. So limitations, perceived barriers can constrain the commitment to action. So if somebody feels like they fail before they start, they're less likely to commit. So if you're talking about, having someone quit, and they're like, there's no way I can quit, my whole family smokes, they're less likely to stay committed. Commitment to a plan of action is less likely when competing demands over which a person has little control over requires immediate attention. So trying to get someone to quit smoking when they're going through a divorce might be tricky. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but you have to understand that sometimes stressors is going to get in the way of making their health a priority. Commitment to a plan of action is less likely to result when other actions are more attractive and preferred over target behavior, right? So, you talk to someone about eating kale and Brussels sprouts versus their Big Mac. That's not going to sound good to them, right? So today somebody was telling me, like, I'm doing so much better. I'm eating the low-fat Cheetos and Triscuits, and where I'm so proud of them that they're making these good choices, it's also my place to be like, here's the deal. Like when you're snacking and you're snacking on Triscuits and you're snacking on Cheetos, you're not doing your body any favors, right? But for me to be like, oh, like for me, I'm like, I snack on cucumbers because that's a healthy snack. She made this face like, oh my God, cucumbers. And I was like, well, what about like getting blueberries and raspberries and a little bit of honey and Greek yogurt and oatmeal, mixing it all together? She's like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good, right? So telling somebody to do something that sounds absolutely unattractive and then the alternative behavior that you're trying to get them to avoid is super attractive, you're less likely to succeed in convincing them to make changing behaviors. Oh, what's this? Bob found exercise very tiring, so he decided not to do any. Yeah, that's really. So in summary, this guides nurses in helping clients achieve improved health, enhanced functional ability, and better quality of life. The model is justified by its ability to account for lifestyle factors and need for improvements in society, and it's based on two other theories, so the expectancy value theory and social cognitive theory, which we're going to talk about. And this model has been widely tested in many settings. So here is the algorithm for it. And here are the references. Okay. All right, so that is it for this section, and then we are going to move on and talk about a little bit about systems theory, but mainly we're going to talk about adaptation theory and needs theory.